Hey everyone, it's Kylie and Zori back at it with the podcast.
Hello.
Okay, so we're like banging out all these podcasts. We were on like number 4. Okay, so I think in this one we're gonna start on like true crime and stuff, cause you know, spooky bitches that we are.
So interesting.
It really is. Honestly, like serial killers is like my niche. Like I'm just like have this obsession with them.
So interesting. Okay, before we start though, I have to address something, and I want to get your opinion on it because there was like this whole thing with true crime where it was like people are being insensitive.
Okay.
Where it's like, for example, you ever see those like makeup true crime people that are like beating their face and they're
as
like,
they're
and she died and she's in the ground and her murderer is never found, and her family's real sad about it.
Yeah.
And you know, and they're like profiting off of it, like making YouTube channels or whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's like really interesting, and like I don't know, I really agree with it, but at the same time it's like I understand like why it's important for the stories to be told. So it's like I understand the stories to be told, but I don't think we should always like see it necessarily straight entertainment because we're kind of like desensitizing ourselves to it. Like the person I watch for true crime, her name is Kendall Ray on YouTube. You probably know who she is.
The girl who does her makeup with...
She doesn't do makeup.
Oh.
She literally just talks about it. She's been on YouTube for so long.
But I think you did show me her.
Yeah. She creates like all these different things where she works with like small companies and brands and will raise money, and she gives it to like human trafficking funds and like shit like that. She still makes money off of it, like no shit, but she also donates a lot of money to it.
Right.
So I feel like it's important to like address that. Like be careful about the way you're consuming true crime.
Right.
Because it did happen.
Right.
It's true.
I feel like
it did happen.
Maybe sometimes the people who are like doing their makeup to it, maybe it's just something to give them to do while the camera's on their face.
Totally. I'm not like blaming
like
them, but I feel like we should really think about the way we consume it just in general, because like sometimes
or glorify it.
For example,
is that what you mean? Like with Ted Bundy and stuff.
Well, glorifying too, but also like if you think about it, for example, the real famous cases like John Benet Ramsey, for example, get told so much you almost just forget that it actually was like it happened. And
instead of
real
like
people,
folklore.
And it's not just like a story. You know what I mean? Like you know what actually happened, but like it gets told so much that you're just like, well, I think this person did. I think this person did, and it's like this was a real family that was like afflicted by like, something. So it's like it's not wrong to like want to hear it or like hear about it, but like I think. Definitely be careful about the way you consume it because it's not just like a fake story.
Yeah, or like
so don't be like, oh, I'm gonna entertain myself with this like true crime. Like you can watch it, but like just be aware that like happened to like
or
people.
like
it happened to people.
The Ted Bundy on Netflix, or
that was
Ted Bundy,
so
where
strange.
The girls were like glorifying him in court, like
oh
my god.
Well, that, but also like people were talking about because like I brought up this like there's this creepy guy on my campus, and he's just a dick. Like he's the most misogynistic. Like girls like think they're so hot, and then they like
what's his face,
and they don't want me. Like he's like an incel type fucking whatever.
What's that misogynistic guy all over YouTube that just got arrested in like Russia? You know who I'm talking about though?
No.
Oh, he like does podcasts and stuff, and oh god,
that's so weird.
Everyone who's listening probably knows who it is, but I cannot remember his name.
But
he's
such
like
an
that.
Ass. He's weird.
Oh my god.
So I brought it up, and then it was like around one of his friends.
Andrew Tate.
Yeah. Oh yes, Andrew fucking Tate.
Oh my
god. So it's like that. So like this guy basically like he got banned from like all the Halloween parties this year, and he was like, Halloween got banned. Like nobody wanted him there. Like they were like, you can't come. Yeah. So like all of his friends wanted to go to these parties, and they were like, well, we can't bring you because you can't come because they said you can't come.
Right.
Also, his Halloween costume was Ted Bundy.
Oh, okay, yeah. As he's the creep on campus.
And he's the creep on campus. Fine. People didn't let him come to the party because women don't feel comfortable around him.
Yeah, because that's
and I was like, it's funny because women also didn't feel comfortable around Ted Bundy. So, and I was like telling his friend, I was like, it's just like, you can't sit here and be like, why do people think, or why are women uncomfortable around me as you're dressing as Ted Bundy for Halloween?
As like, you're already projected as a creep.
Just don't dress as Ted Bundy for Halloween. Like, it's not funny. Yeah. Like, whatever. So, like, that's a real serial killer. Like, I mean, I know, I'm not thinking that you're a serial killer because you dress like him, but also just, like, just don't. Like, there's a lot of fake, you could be Jason, you could be fucking
right,
Michael Myers. You could be, they're fake serial killers.
Because if those were real, I bet nobody would be like walking around.
Don't
really
dress as Ted Bundy. Like
yeah.
it's not funny. So he's dressing as him, and his friend was like, well, what do you think about the series on Netflix? I was like, I think that's fucking stupid too. He's like, well, what do you think about like because that was done without the
one with Evan Peters. I didn't watch that. I really want to, though.
It was done without like the knowledge of like I forget, the family or something, like the families,
okay,
or whatever. So they made a bunch of profit off of this movie with like whatever. Which I'm not saying it's like detrimental. Yeah, I'm saying it's not like right, and also respectfully. Like I love Evan Peters, whatever.
Love him so much.
We have heard enough about Ted Bundy. Yeah. Like the horse has been beaten to fucking death. Like, we get it.
Yeah.
Like, we heard the story. We know he's a serial killer. We know he's a creep. Right. We don't need another fucking series about it. Right. Like, tell some other story that's untold. Right. Like, what about that girl who died in the fucking freezer forever ago in a hotel and nobody knows what happened to her?
Who?
Like, that. Exactly. Exactly.
Where? When?
This happened in, like, I forget where, but it happened, like, maybe like 2017, 2018. This girl, like, randomly, like, there's video footage of her in the hotel, like, walking around, like, visibly probably drunk. Mm-hmm. And she never, like, goes into the freezer on the video camera, but she was found dead in the freezer. Like, like, to death.
Yeah. Wow.
And people are like, who put her here? And there was also, like, remnants of, like, a plastic bag on her and some shit. Some weird shit that didn't line up with the video. Mm-hmm. And nobody really looked into it, and nobody really gave a fuck. And the police were like, she just died in this freezer because she was drunk.
Yeah, okay. And her family put herself in the damn freezer.
And her family was like, well, some other shit doesn't line up with that. Like, yes, she was drunk, obviously, but, like, this doesn't line up.
Right.
Like, and nobody looked into it. Also, that kid who died in the gym, he like died in the gym of his school in a mat that was like rolled up.
Okay, yeah.
And it just didn't check out.
Yeah.
Nothing about it checked out. I recently, like, by recently I mean like a year ago, like watched a documentary about it that was all about this specific case where they showed pictures. It was literally so disgusting. They showed pictures. I was not ready. Of his like body and everything because they needed to get the family is so distraught over him. It happened in Georgia. You cannot tell me I will not go to Georgia. I will not go to Georgia.
You?
They're racist as fuck.
Really?
In the South, just in general. But there's a lot of
black towards white or white towards black or both.
White towards black.
Okay.
In the South, because the South is where like a lot of just racism and like slavery, whatever, happened in general, and so like. We talked about like generational trauma. Yeah. It's the same with positive things as well, right? Like if you're taught like, oh, black people are bad, you're gonna believe the black people are bad, right? So a lot of the people in the South are just like racist. Mm-hmm. But there's so much like true crime that happens to black people that ends up just getting like
looked over.
Like, oh, not even looked over because like I hear about them, but the cops are just like, oh yeah, it was an accident. And it's like, and like nothing about it says accident. But they're like, oh, yeah, it was an accident. It just happened. Like, whatever. So, basically, I found out about this case. Because I knew about this case forever ago. And never, like, delved into it. I, like, knew about it. The guy, basically, they found this kid rolled up in a gym mat.
The gym kid, yeah.
And he was dead in the mat. And so, they were like, did he get stuck in the mat? And did he die in the mat? Like, he was he was in the mat upside down. And somebody like
stuck in the mat.
They claimed like because one of his shoes were off or something. So they claimed like maybe his shoe fell down and he went to go get it.
Oh.
And then because he got stuck in there, like he suffocated and died in there.
Like, is that actually a maybe?
There's so much backstory though that I didn't know until I watched this documentary.
But wouldn't you just
so basically
put the mat down and then get your shoe?
You can kick your girl. Why would I?
Or
dive?
You can kick
why
yourself.
Would I dive into?
Yeah, you can either hit the mat down with your shoe. Or
anyway, basically, I think his name was like Kevin Johnson or something
This happened in Georgia.
Something with a K. It happened in Georgia, and basically all this like I didn't know any more details. Like I heard some YouTubers talk about it, but they didn't go in depth, and that was all I heard. I watched this whole documentary on it. I forget what I watched it on, but it was on some streaming service, maybe Amazon or something, because my mom like put it on.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, I heard about this case. Basically. This kid had gotten into a fight with, like, some other kid at a party, like, maybe, like, a month before or something, and they had, like, beef. Other people knew about it. the points in which this kid was in the gym happened, and where he was at in the gym happened to not be caught on the security cameras that were all around the gym.
Right.
The day he was at school, the last day he was at school, there's a piece of missing footage where this other kid was involved. And this is where I'm just like, this isn't a coincidence at all. This definitely happened. This kid's dad, who was like the main, he's an FBI.
Oh, okay,
he's FBI. They clean the fuck out of that shit. And they don't know. And they were just like, oh yeah, it just happened. It was accidental asphyxiation. Like, there was some red paint on his shoe that nobody looked into. The coroner, also, when they did an autopsy on his body, I forget exactly, like, all the details, but basically what happened is, like, when you do an autopsy, you're supposed to, like, keep whatever, I don't know. There's a process to it.
Yeah.
They filled his body with newspaper and shipped it to somebody else, another coroner. They took all of his organs out, filled his body with newspaper, which is not a normal practice.
Isn't it embalming?
And shipped it to somebody else so they could look at it.
Newspaper?
And the guy gets it and was like, his body's filled with newspaper. I don't know what to even look at. So they are like covering shit up left and right. There was also another thing that happened in Georgia with this woman who like did like a sleepover. It was like a coworker sleepover.
Okay.
And she was there. And they were all drinking or whatever, and, like, she just randomly ended up dead. I forget, like, where she was or where she was
hostess of the party.
I think on the patio or something, and the whole, like, the people there were like, yeah, we don't know what happened. Like, it was really... And they seemed, like, extremely, like, weirdly unbothered by it. They were like, yeah, it was, like, really weird. Like, we just, like, found her dead.
Did they...
It was odd. Like, she must have just drank too much. She must have just drank too much.
No, she would have had to mix drugs.
She was also black. And it was like one of those things, and
she would have had to mix drugs.
It's chilling because they took a picture the night before, and you can see that if you look it up, you can see the picture of like her just sitting on the couch. She's like the only black woman, all these like white women around her, and like it's just like.
But like, why?
They just didn't look into it.
They probably either drugged her or she.
I'm not
was
touching
Georgia.
Drugs, I'm not touching Georgia with a 10-foot fucking pole.
Have you ever been there?
No.
I've only driven through there to get to like
absolutely
the Carolinas.
I am so fucking good. I can get peaches here. I don't need Georgia peaches.
I don't even like peaches.
Wait, I'm gonna see if I can find the picture.
I've literally just.
But do you have any
Georgia?
Do you have any true crime cases that have like stuck with you and like you think about like randomly and it'll like fuck your brain?
All right, let's see. Well, the one recently I swear to God, it's Idaho murders. I think it's Idaho. Yeah, it's Idaho. The one where...
Oh my God.
Yeah, we were...
This is so chill.
But I think that's only sticking with me because it's recent. Oh, is this the sleepover?
There's the picture of the lady with all of them.
Oh my God, look at all these
She ended up dead. She was dead in their backyard.
It's just really funny.
And they didn't have a reason.
House? Was she a hostess?
No, it wasn't her house. She was at their house.
I thought she was hosting.
And the cops came, and the cops were like, what happened? And they were like, she must have drank too much and passed out in the yard. And they were like, okay.
So weird.
They just said okay and called it a day. Like, they didn't even look into it. They didn't even look into it.
That's so weird.
And there's, like, more details on the case, but I totally forget all of it. But, like, it was just so weird because she ended up dead.
They didn't look into it? Like...
On November 4th, 2018, Tamla Horsford was discovered dead in the backyard of the Cumming, Georgia home, where she had been attending a slumber party with the other football moms the night before.
Football moms.
The 40-year-old was a mother of 5.
Oh my God.
Guys.
Wow.
No charges warranted. No charges were pressed. Nothing.
But, like,
they just were like, oh, she died at your house? Okay.
There's no information on her autopsy? Like,
they didn't.
What?
That's the thing is, if you have enough power.
Yeah, those girls were
They're just like, we don't need to do an autopsy.
Do you
we know
see
that
how
she was
the house
drunk.
looked?
Yeah.
You see how they all looked?
Yeah.
They probably
type
are
shit.
married to like people in the law.
And then also it's all of them against her, right? So all of them like get their story together. Yeah, we all have the same story. She was acting really weird. She got a little drunk. She drank a little bit too much.
She might have been on drugs.
And I'm like, I forget all the details of the case, but I'm not opposed to looking at the other side. Obviously, I'm not just saying like just because she was black, she must have been murdered.
Right.
But all the details of the case don't add up. The same way the guy with like in the gym mat did not add up, and it's like,
That's like...
It's like, y'all just let this happen.
Yeah,
and for his dad to be FBI.
Yeah,
shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, we know you fucking did that shit, bro.
That's something
his son could do anything, and he's like, okay, we're gonna figure out a way to cover it up.
That's something that's so unsettling to me is not knowing this younger and actually probably realizing this within the past couple of years is that, like, the justice system is actually so fucked up, and it's not even about who's wrong or who's guilty or who's non-guilty.
It's how you play the fucking game.
That and the best, and like who has the best lawyer.
Well, that's because the lawyers play the game for you. So it's a whole thing about like, I just watched this movie, a Lifetime movie with my mom about this little girl who basically like got raped by like her janitor at her school.
Yeah.
She's like maybe 8, 7, something like that.
Oh,
Gets raped by her janitor at school. Not only raped, but beaten, left in a ditch. He probably thought he killed her. Then she comes back, right? They find her, whatever. She was missing for a while. They find her, and she's in a coma. Like, he beat her into a coma.
Wow.
Like, she's fucked up.
Right.
And they're like, okay, who did it? Like, whatever. They basically find out it was this guy, like the janitor. And the janitor has a good lawyer.
Yeah.
And the janitor here's the thing, too, about... Because his mom was... Whatever. His mom was defending him, too. So here's the thing where it comes with the justice system is money is a big deal. If you are rich... You can find somebody who knows, you can find somebody who can play the game better. Even if you're rich, I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, if you did something and there's full proof that you did it. But if they know how to play the game right enough, they're going to give you the lowest sentence possible, right?
You know how many famous people have just escaped jail, have just not been there?
Because like, you can get a low sentence, right? So it's like, I mean, if you have like a really crazy good lawyer and they're like, they fight for you, it's like, okay, yes, maybe you did it. We got you a year. For whatever you did that probably would get a poor person like
to life
fucking
or
life.
Something. Yeah.
Because they can't afford, because you have the right to an attorney, yes, but you don't have a right to a good one.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry, if you're an attorney and you're working like pro bono for somebody who's broke, are you going to care that much about the case?
No, yeah.
So it makes a difference.
Just
about who you are, like, it's
growing up and realizing it. I actually realized it. I don't know if you know the Netflix show How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh, I do know it.
So good. Oh my god, I'm on my second time watching it with Avery now because it's just so good. I'm like, I want her to watch it.
I know Viola Davis. Yeah,
she's so amazing. Good. The whole series just breaks down like her defending guilty people, innocent people going to jail, and my whole
because your job as a lawyer is to do that. Because I remember when I was a kid, I was like, "Well, what do you do if you?" I was like, "What do you do if you think the person's guilty?" Yeah, will you play the fucking game?
Well, I thought everything was fair.
You play the fucking game. If you think your person is guilty, it's irrelevant whether or not you think they're guilty. Even if you know they're guilty. You play the game to get them the best possible outcome. I literally just always thought... It is so fucked. Bad people go to jail. Mm-hmm. Good people don't. But then watching that show, I watched it in college, and I was a criminal justice major, and I was like, no. I was like, what? I literally blew my mind. And then it made me almost question, I was like, I almost questioned the lawyers more. Like, no, it's weird. I could never be a lawyer. Like, I could never. How can your moral compass? Ethically, I could never be a lawyer. There's now. Like your moral just says that you can do that. Oh my god, it's so fucked up. There's so many different types of lawyers, though. So I'm gonna be fair. I know. So you can go to law school and you can be like, what is it, property lawyer, where you're like literally just being like, well, if your house was on this property, then you're fine. The people dealing with like crime, like ethically. Yeah, like your moral is so not. And there's obviously good lawyers, but they're probably not making as much money as the bad ones. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like, it's disgusting. So then at that point, it's like, people that marry those lawyers. Yeah. It's like, their job is to, like, really good lie to your face. And they have... If they have no morals, I could never. If they have no morals with letting murderers free, you think they're gonna have morals with marrying you? They have no morals with you. I forgot to finish. Basically, this guy, the janitor, ended up getting off scot-free because he had a good lawyer. So they were like, "Oh yeah, you're not guilty." He's like, "Yay!" The mom loses her shit, has a gun in her purse,
Oh.
Shoots him in the courtroom.
No way.
So now...
Wait, how'd she... How'd she even get in with a gun in her purse? Is there not like a metal detector
Probably not. Probably some weird fucking shit. But basically she had a gun in her purse the whole time because he didn't know the little girl was still alive after he beat her.
Yeah, right.
So she came back and he knew about it because he's the janitor.
Right.
So he called, which is so stupid to do. Like, I don't know how they didn't catch him just based off this call. Right. But he called the house and was like, he basically threatened the family. He was like, I'll fucking hurt her. Oh. Like, I'll hurt her again. Okay. If you want to, whatever the fuck. Right? Didn't say who he was and was like, I'll hurt her again. Yeah. And the mom's like, what the fuck? Like, my daughter's back. She's been raped, beaten. She's in a coma. Right. And now this guy calling, threatening us. Like, so she put a gun, put a gun in her purse. To, like, keep herself safe. Forgot it was in there. Was in court when he got off scot-free. Shot him. Didn't even think about it.
Because she was angry. Oh my God.
And then after that, he died.
He died, yeah.
He died. And then
then we got a whole new court case in court right now.
Then she goes to his old lawyer and was like, can you represent me? Because
now the lawyer is like,
she was like, I've seen you in court and you play the game good. Like, will you represent me?
Like, I can't sleep at night.
The lawyer was like, I don't know. And she was like, so you knew he did it though? Because like everybody knew he did it. There was all this evidence that he fucking, like, not evidence in court, but like evidences and like common fucking sense that he did it. And she was like, you knew he did it and you still like defended him. How can you sleep at night? Do you have a kid? And the lady
I don't sleep at night.
And then the lady was like, okay, fine, I'll defend you. And defends this lady. She ends up getting a year in prison.
Which the girl who, the mom who shot the guy.
Which is like,
that's not
with
even
parole.
Bad, yeah.
Which isn't bad, but still pissed me the fuck off because I was like, this guy got off.
Yeah, that's true.
It fully depends on who you are, how much money you have, and like, whatever. He might not have money, but his mom had money.
Right.
His mom had money, and his mom was willing. And his mom was willing to defend him, even though she knew he wasn't there, right? So he was late. They were supposed to have dinner the night that he, like, raped and beat this girl, and he showed up late.
And he showed up to the dinner, so, like, everything's normal.
Yeah, that you're fucking crazy.
That's how you're a psychopath.
Showed up late. And his mom decided not to mention that and say that, yeah, we were at dinner at the time that happened. Yeah. Because she just was so in denial of, like, I don't want my son to be a bad person.
Well,
and he was already, like, a sex offender, apparently.
Yeah, and she's
that worked at the fucking school. Because this was, like,
how he even get
it happened forever ago.
Oh, I don't know.
It also happened forever ago. So they didn't.
It's like,
certain states have different things where it's like, we don't even know what happened in the other states, so we don't give a fuck. So that's one area where I'm like, law is so fucked. Like, why do you even... I'm sorry, if you're a sex offender in that state, you're a sex offender in the country.
Right.
Like, stop.
Right.
Like, stop.
It doesn't just go away.
Yeah. I'm sorry, if you touch kids, you touch kids.
Yeah.
Like ew.
Yeah.
So, his mom was like, I don't want to... she's in denial. She's a mom. She's like, I don't want to leave
She's also trying to defend
my
her
son. Who's still, like... lives at home, who's a full-grown, like, 40-year-old.
Did he? Yeah.
Yeah, like, he still was living at home. She's, like, cooking him breakfast and shit, like...
That's also when moms are obsessed with their kids.
We were talking about
weird.
that. My mom was talking about that. She was like, my mom, while we were watching it, she was like, no, that's her husband. That's her quote-unquote husband.
So...
like, the emotional, like, incest type... I'm like, you're the only thing. Like, we're only family to each other, so I'm not going to go to court and be like, yeah, you were late and you were acting weird. Because he was. Yeah. She's like, I'm just going to say that you were on time and give you an alibi.
That's when it's...
And I'm just like, why does an alibi from somebody you're family with even count? Like, shouldn't multiple people have to see you for it to count as an alibi? Yeah. But anyway, she ends up getting a year. He ends up dead. But if he had not ended up dead, he would have ended up free. Which is, like, crazy to me.
Yeah. Maybe she should have not killed him, but, like, very, very, like, badly, like... Injured him.
She didn't try to. She just shot him. She literally wasn't thinking. In fact, when she went to court with the new lawyer, the good one, she was like, oh, well, look, we'll plead insanity because you just were, like, not in your right mind. She was like, I literally don't know what happened. Yeah. She was like, I heard the verdict. Yeah. And the next moment, he was on the ground. Like, I don't know what happened.
She saw red.
And I was like, she should have. I'm glad she shot him.
Yeah, yeah.
And then...
And a year is really not that bad if you think about it in, like, introspective, like, your whole life. Like, a year is... It's really terrible, not crazy. But...
I think it was a year. It might have been, like, 3 or something.
Okay.
Still,
three's pushing.
Yeah, it might have been 3, but I don't know. But it's, like...
Still for murdering someone.
It's crazy. But
it's not the worst.
Do you have... I mean, I don't know if you already answered this, but do you have a true crime that sticks with you? Because I have a couple that stick with me. I mean, obviously those ones that I just mentioned.
Yeah. I don't know if there's ones that necessarily, like, stick with me because I've just, like, been so obsessed with serial killers. Mm-hmm. But, like, obviously the more recent ones, because it's like, whoa, this could still be a thing.
Recent? Like, what are you
Well, no, that serial killer in the Idaho one.
Oh, yeah.
Because that actually probably was being a serial killer.
No, that was wild.
And, like, the last time we had...
Has there been any more deaths? That was a massacre, not even a serial killing. He literally was like, I'm going to go in this house, kill everybody, and then never kill anybody ever again. Well, but here's
the thing is why I think it was serial more was he stalked them for a month prior. And, like, mass murdering is just, like, not stalking. It's just, like, straight up killing at the time.
Weird.
He stalked them every weekend, like, following their patterns of if they were going to, like, throw a car. Wait, is this confirmed?
Because I don't know all the information from
he would, like, it, the police, like...
They found him?
Yeah, he's already, like...
I did not know that. I thought he was still, like, not found.
No, but it took them, like, a month-ish or two to find him. So, like, his phone was GPS tracked, like... that he was there every weekend or every Friday stalking, like, what they were doing. So he followed the pattern for a month before he even killed them. Yeah. So, like...
That's why they say, like, if you're going to do something, don't be regular.
I think it's...
If you go on runs every morning, don't fucking do that.
Yeah.
Or switch if you're going to go every morning, then switch your route every morning. Like, don't do that
And I think it was serial because he left 1 or 2 alive. And he had to pass their floor and pass their bedroom in order to, like, kill the other ones. So he left certain ones alive. I think
so 2 people survived?
Yeah, 1 or 2 survived.
But they just came out of their room and... Why do I feel like I know nothing about this case?
You should look into it.
Like, I swear I watched, like, a little video about it, but I don't feel like I know that much.
So,
like, I didn't know how anybody survived.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2. I think there was 5 total, and 3 died. I think the 2 were on the bottom floor, and I think I know he had to pass them and pass their bedroom in order to get to the others. Mm-hmm. That's why I think it was more of, like, a preference on who he wanted to kill. Yeah. More of, like, a look of an attractive thing or whatever. And then the boyfriend just got in the way. Like, he didn't live there. He was staying over, and he noticed that he was there, that the serial killer was there, and he got in the way, so he got murdered. But I think the serial killer only wanted to kill, like, the 2 girls. Like, because I know serial killers are very picky. Yeah, if it was a mass murder, he would not leave anyone alive. And he made eye contact with the 1 or 2 girls he left alive.
Creepy as
like they literally made eye contact.
How'd they see him?
Because he didn't wear a mask or anything.
But wait, he just like passed by and they were like, who's that guy?
On his way out, I think they made eye contact. But, like, they literally kept silent the whole time because what are you going to do? Like, they heard the other ones getting murdered. Like, there was nothing you could do.
That is terrifying.
You should look into it because I can't remember all the details. But it's crazy. And he stabbed the one girl, like, 20-something times.
That's, like, personal. They do take the amount of stabbings into consideration. Mine that sticks with me, I have a couple that stick with me. One is one that's unsolved. I don't know about you, but I don't like listening to unsolved.
Ones are crazy.
I don't like those. I don't like those. I used to hear people be like, I don't like unsolved, and I'd be like, oh, you're like pussy. Like, yeah. But as I'm getting older, I'm like, yeah, I don't like the unsolved. Because it's like, girl, they're just somewhere. Yeah. I'm not like worried that they're going to get me. Like, I'm not like, I'm anxious, like, oh my God, they're going to get me. I'm not scared like that, but I'm just like, they're just out there.
Like
living amongst us.
The Zodiac Killer?
Oh my God.
His thing, he never got caught. And then his little, like, decoding thing just came out like 2 years ago or something. So like
he killed based on zodiac sign?
No.
Wait, what was the zodiac killer? I don't know all the...
He had... It wasn't actual zodiac signs, I don't think. It was like more of a coding.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so they just called him zodiac.
Yeah.
I was like, not him being witchy.
No, I
It's like not him being like, I'm killing all the Virgos.
I'm not excited, but most serial killers are Virgos.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
Or Scorpios, I heard.
Yeah.
And I just have both. So
Yeah.
my mom brings that
I read that earlier.
all the time. My mom brings that up all the time.
Yeah. So it wasn't, I think it was like a code he used when he would like kill someone. He would send a code to the police. So it would be like symbols. Mm-hmm. But something recently, I gotta relook it up before I even say this, but something came out a couple years ago where they like, I don't know if they decoded something or it recently just came out that he like,
he's very methodical
something, but he never got caught. But he would be like, he's probably dead by now because this was a long time ago. Or he'd be in his 70s or 80s right now. So, but I got to re-look up what exactly it was and then re-talk about it. But
I don't think I could kill somebody and have those like images in my mind and live. Like, that is crazy. I don't think I could kill and be like...
But
like, there's obviously a switch that happens.
It's
that's
so
like,
weird to think about.
But, okay, so one of them... was those girls, it was not that long ago, like maybe 2017 or something. It was called the Snapchat Killer. And basically it was these girls. They were just like in high school or something. And they went to they wanted to walk down this like trail or whatever that most people walk down. Mm-hmm. So this girl had her sister bring her, they read the trail. She's like, I'll let you know when to pick us up or something like that. Basically, they never text her. And so the sister's like freaking out, like, where the fuck are they? Yeah. Like, she goes, they look, she tells her parents, they have police come, nobody can find them, whatever. Eventually they find the bodies. Essentially, this girl and her friend died.
Yeah.
And all they had is footage from this girl's like back pocket where she like obviously like felt like something was wrong.
Oh.
And started like kind of recording on Snapchat, I guess.
Okay, so she put it in her back pocket.
Put it in her back pocket because this
like,
guy was walking
out.
behind them.
Okay.
And they only just got that image. I mean, obviously it ends after a while, so it wasn't like a full recording. Yeah. So they just got like, that's all they had of him is like this footage of him walking like far behind them. But it was like just this guy. And they were literally like raped and killed and found and like whatever. God. And nobody found out.
They all died? They all got killed?
It was just two girls. And they both got killed. And their bodies were found. But they did not find the guy.
Oh my God.
Even though they had the video footage. Because he was like kind of far. He was kind of far for one. And then for two, it's like, this could be anybody. Like, he was just some white dude.
Right.
So it's like, who the fuck is this?
Do you know what state this was in?
I forget.
Is it far
but if you literally...
hopefully.
I mean, yeah, I think so. I think it was like somewhere... I forgot. But, yeah, that was like fucking weird.
So they never found him?
No. So I think they had like a lead or something, but...
Was this a while ago?
I think they're still like... Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, but it was like long enough to be like not like... It wasn't within the past year or two.
That's when it's like, is he a serial killer or not? Because you know how serial killers have their cooling off periods. So
he might not be a serial killer because there's a difference between like a serial killer because I feel like serial killers get off on like kill, whereas like people who just kill like regularly, because you could be like somebody who kills regularly who's not a serial killer, but like your motivation is like maybe you kill, and by regularly like I mean like maybe even like once a year.
Well, that is
twice
serial
a year.
Killer then.
It
is a cooling off period.
I mean, there is a cooling off period still with serial killers, but I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of just like the difference in motivation, right?
Yeah.
Because some people kill people because they offended on them, right?
Right.
So like, I raped you. Right. I don't want you to tell anybody. I'm gonna kill you. I don't really need you to be dead. I just don't want anybody to know that I like did this other crime, so I have to kill you. That's kind of...
It's still a serial killer? Because
no, because I feel like serial killers get off on the kill. The whole point is the kill. It's not like a personal, like... It's not like...
Isn't it weird,
it might be personal, but it's not... I don't feel like serial killers are like... Oh, like, I'm just gonna kill this... I'm gonna kill this specific person. Yeah. Like, I mean, it could be, and it could be random, too, but I feel like serial killers... The motivation is the kill. Like, I want to kill you. Whereas, like, there is a lot of people who commit crimes on people specifically rape is usually what I'm thinking about, whereas, like, these girls were, like, found raped. Rapists, pedophiles who they don't necessarily want to kill you. They just don't want to be caught and guilty.
Right.
So they know that the only way for them not to be caught and guilty is if you aren't around.
Right.
So they either kidnap you and keep you in their house,
which
is, like, very many stories have been told of, like, girls that were, like, went missing and came back. Like, J.C.
There was
Dugard.
one in DeWitt here, which is 20 minutes away.
Oh, yeah.
The one where he kept all the girls in his basement.
Oh,
or, like,
God,
he had an entire, like...
See, that's one of those things, like, you never know where your neighbors are going.
Literally.
Oh, my God. It's so weird. But, like, yeah, whereas, like, the motivation isn't necessarily to kill. It's so, like, I would keep you around if I could.
Yeah.
But, like, I know this is a one and done.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, some people, instead of killing, they just keep you.
Right.
But I feel like that's a lot of work.
Like,
so all of them
feed them,
exactly. So it's like, I'd rather kill
you,
leave your body in a ditch, even though I don't really get off on killing. A lot of them I even feel like don't like the fact that they even had to kill and are like disturbed by that. Yeah. They just wanted the satisfaction of whatever the fuck they did, which is still disgusting and awful. Whereas, like, I feel like serial killers get off on the kill. Like, they're just like, I just want to see you
which is
scared and suffering.
So what does that stem from?
I don't know. It's fucking strange.
It's so weird to think that, like, you get pleasure from people, like, you hurting people. I don't know.
I feel like that comes from, like, something.
It's
something.
And then it's always the thing of, like, are serial killers born or made? That stresses me.
I don't get it. Because I feel like some of them are born. Because, like, what about those kids that are just like weird? Yeah. Like, a lot of them, again, like, the thing with, like, serial killers, like, a lot of them start with killing animals.
Yeah. Like, around
a lot
age
of them are
5,
kids and killing animals. So, like, around age 5, they're just, like, hitting the dog. Like, they're just violent. Yeah. And I don't want to think that they're born. Obviously, nobody wants to think that they're born. But I'm willing to believe that maybe
I almost think they are.
But I think, that being said, I think they could be born. But I think that more often than not, they are made. And I think that because I think it often stems from some sort of, like, imbalance, right? I mean, that is proven. There's, like, psychopath. There's literally, like, we use the term psychopath in, like, a derogatory, like, whatever, like, you're psycho, like, kind of way. But, like, it's a real thing. You can be psycho and not, like, act. You know what I mean? I feel like it's rare, but you can be psycho and not, like, act and, like, kill people, right?
Yeah.
Same with, like, this is crazy to even think about, but that's the thing with, like, pedophilia, where it's, like, I watched this whole documentary about pedophiles that don't offend, apparently. Yeah. Obviously, allegedly, that don't offend. They're like, yes, I'm a pedophile, but I don't
They don't act on it?
I never have acted on it. And I don't want to act on it. And I'm disgusted with the fact that I am one. But I am one.
It's like being self-aware.
And it's gross. And it's gross. But it's like, you're not doing it. You know what I mean? So that could be a thing, too. But I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like it's both. I feel like they're born and made. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's the same, like, the argument with nature versus nurture, where it's like, well, are you how you were raised or are you genetics? I feel like it is 50-50. I feel like it is 50-50 because you can be whoever you are. And, like, say you are born in this amazing family that cares about you and is concerned about you.
Yeah.
And they put you in therapy and they work with you and whatever. And you figure out your issues and you don't kill anyone ever.
Yeah.
But you're aware of, like, your internal. But that being said, there are also serial killers that come from families like that. Yeah. That are fully like, we love you and support you. Yeah. But there's something missing there. That's what I'm saying. There's, like, an infinite amount of possibilities where it's like, if you are not getting that one part of help that you need, even if you have a family that's like, we want to help you and, like, we're going to put you in therapy. Also, again, therapy is, like, it's only going to do the work if you work it. So, like, if you're going to therapy and being like, I don't know, I don't really have anything, and spending the whole hour doing that, of course it's not going to help you. So it doesn't matter if your family's like, oh, yeah, we noticed something's wrong and we're going to help you, if you're not, like, willing to whatever. So, like, I feel like it's a weird fucking thing where
I've also learned in psychology that it could be that, like, like, something is, like, switched in your brain that's weird, that's not in normal people's brains. So, like, that's how you could be born with it.
That's what we're talking about sociopaths.
Like, something's just...
Because sociopaths don't have, like... I'm not going to speak generally because I don't know, like, fully. But, like, allegedly, or like supposedly, sociopaths don't have like empathy.
Yeah.
So they don't like feel bad. Yeah. They don't really feel.
Is that same with psychopaths, right?
I forget the difference, so I don't really want to like touch on it. But like sociopaths, I know the big thing with sociopaths is that
like
they
a more common.
They don't feel empathy. Yeah. They are partial to impulsive like decisions and like won't really feel like, you know, like if whenever like, oh, so and so died, like it's like okay.
Yeah.
Like all right. Yeah. Like they don't really have emotion, and a lot of them pretend to have emotion. Because, I mean, I'm sorry, if you grow up in a world where you see people cry at certain things that you just don't give a fuck about, you'll start to, like, pretend, like, oh, I'm sad, too.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's, like, you don't realize something's wrong with you. It's the same with, like, I feel like with, like, autism, people talk about, like, how, oh, like, I'm autistic, and I realized it for a lot of my life, I was, like, masking, where it's, like, I wanted to, like, stim or, like, move in a certain way, and I just realized, like, other people weren't doing that, so I wasn't, and so I held back. But it's, like, real life, I would do that. So it's like with sociopaths, it's like, oh, I realized other people were like feeling things, and I realized I wasn't. Yeah. So I just kind of started acting like other people. Yeah. And like mirroring that, like we were talking about earlier, like mirroring, like acting like other people, and then until you realize something was wrong, and then you get on medication or like go to therapy or whatever the fuck you need to do. But those things I don't think stem necessarily from trauma, so I don't think you can like just become a sociopath. Right. I don't know for sure. I don't think you can just like become a sociopath.
Yeah, no, I think that's more that.
Whereas like you can like develop BPD.
Unless you can become a sociopath in the sense where you grow up and everyone around you is so cold to you and like gives you no love.
But I feel like there's even people then like that grew up in like super abusive households that are able to like give love. So I don't think you can even like fully say that you can develop being a sociopath. I think you just are. I think it's a part of your brain that just doesn't develop. Yeah.
I don't know why we can't solve it.
Because that's a part that's like, to be able to understand other people's emotions and like look at other people's emotions is a part of the brain that works. So if that part is not working, and you don't care, then you are fully just like in your own world. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, if I want it, then I'll get it. Yeah. And if I don't want it, then I don't get it. Yeah. And if I want it and I have to do something that hurts somebody else, I don't care because I want it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whereas we kind of think like, what is it, neurotypically, right? We're like, oh, like, well, I want this, but if it's going to hurt this person, I don't want to do it. Right. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I want so bad to like, just say fuck you to my boss. Yeah. But one, it's gonna hurt them, and two, I'm gonna lose my job. So like, let's not do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or I want. So, or even if like as a parent, I can only imagine as a parent with like a 2-year-old who's bugging the fuck out of you, I want so badly to be like, shut the fuck up. But I don't want to traumatize my kid, so I'm not gonna do that. Yeah. Like there's people I remember there was a point where like, I was looking a lot into this, and there's people who like are sociopaths and like know about it and are self-aware about it, and like I remember there was one Jubilee video that was like, I'm a sociopath, ask me any questions, and he has a kid and he's like, yeah, it took a lot of like me working with myself, and it's just shit that he's working on. Yeah. And the people that don't have the opportunity to work on it, or maybe whose just brains won't let them work on it, those are the people who become like killers or like even just like manipulators, like scammers, like you know those people like those stories that was
it's like manipulator killer. It's like you're one step away.
There's those like true crimes where it's like not necessarily anybody got killed, but people got scammed, right? Yeah. Kendall Ray does some of those, and there was this guy who literally pretended to be a doctor and literally had no life. Like he didn't have like any money. Pretended to be a doctor. He was dating multiple women. Wow. Got them to pay for multiple things somehow, even though he was like pretending to be a doctor. Yeah, right. I forget. I watched the whole video, and it was like definitely like one of those things where it's like I wouldn't do that, but in the moment, like a mass if I was there, like I could probably see how I would end up giving them. You know what I mean? Right. With them for years, type shit, scamming multiple women, getting all this money from all of them until he was found out.